The knock was sharp, official. When Deborah opened the door, the man on her doorstep had a folder and a grim expression.
Deborah Vance? I am Patrick, Senior Fraud Investigator with Sentinel Life. Your family filed a death claim on your policy. We need to talk.
What are you talking about? I am not dead.
This death certificate was filed with the claim. It says you died 3 months ago in a car accident.
The document looked convincing. State seal, her name, a cause of death. But every word was a lie.
Your family held a memorial service. We have photos.
They held a funeral? For me?
They filed for $250,000. A cross-check with tax records flagged you were still employed, still alive.
My family finally did it. After draining my savings and trashing my credit, they tried to cash in my life. What do you need from me? I'll help.
For Deborah, the knock brought back memories of a different kind of years of financial abuse that ended with her walking away.
Deborah, your uncle just needs a cosigner for this loan. It's just a formality. You'd do that for family, right?
Don't be selfish. After everything we've done for you, you can't help out with one little signature.
She signed, and they defaulted, again and again, until her credit was shredded and her savings drained.
I can't keep doing this. They'll never stop taking.
She changed her number, moved to another state, and married, taking her husband's name. She built a quiet life far from the people who'd bled her dry. Years passed. Her credit healed, her career flourished, and the silence from her old life was the greatest gift she'd ever given herself.
But they never really let go. They were circling back the whole time.
She kept a small memento, an old key her grandmother had given her, engraved with "Always in my heart." It reminded her not everyone in that family was toxic.
Now I know why the silence broke. They finally found a way to use me without needing my signature.
Our system cross-checks death claims against tax records and employment data. Yours lit up red instantly. You've been paying taxes the whole time.
They didn't even bother to check if I was really dead.
They went further. They published an obituary. This ran in the local paper last month.
In loving memory of Deborah Vance, tragically taken in an accident, survived by her devoted parents, Richard and Dorothy Holt.
Devoted. They wrote devoted. They haven't spoken to me in years.
And this photo is from the memorial they staged. Your Uncle Edward arranged the whole thing.
The photograph showed a sparse gathering, her parents, uncle, a few strangers, all standing before a blown-up portrait of a woman they'd discarded.
They stood there playing mourners while planning how to spend the money.
The death certificate is forged. The notary stamp isn't registered, and the hospital code doesn't exist. This was deliberate.
Show me everything. Every piece of evidence. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure they pay for this.
I'll need your driver's license, social security card, and recent pay stubs. That proves you were never deceased.
I have them. It's surreal. Providing proof I am alive when they insisted I was dead.
She handed over the documents, clean, current, undeniable. Each one erased the fiction her family had sold.
This evidence is going to send them to prison, and I am the one handing it over.
We'll be in touch. Sentinel will back the prosecution to the fullest extent.
He left with a thick case file that would soon trigger a criminal investigation. Alone, Deborah locked the deadbolt and dialed a number she'd hoped she'd never need. Her attorney.
Elena, it's Deborah. My family faked my death for a life insurance claim. I need a lawyer immediately.
I'll clear my schedule. Don't speak to anyone. No family, no police, no one. Wait for my guidance.
For the first time, I am not just their victim. I am the one with the evidence and the power.
The next morning, Deborah went to the hardware store for a heavy-duty deadbolt and a wireless security camera.
They've already invaded my life with a lie. I won't let them invade my home too.
She drilled into the door frame, the sound of the screws biting into the wood, a small, satisfying resistance.
For years, I gave them key after key to my credit, my future. This lock is for me.
After the deadbolt, She mounted a camera in the corner of the living room, its red light blinking a quiet sentinel.
They faked a memorial. They lit candles for a woman they drained dry.
She sat as the afternoon light faded, letting the full weight of the deception press on her chest.
I am alive, but they wanted me dead on paper. That's a wound that doesn't heal with a deadbolt.
But the lock was real. The camera was real. For the first time in years, she wasn't waiting for the next betrayal. She was preparing for it.
They'll find out. The claim is being investigated. When they do, they'll come for me. I'll be ready.
In his office, Patrick laid the death certificate under a desk lamp, circling the notary seal with a red marker.
The seal is a photocopy. Flat, no embossing. An amateur mistake, but enough to fool a clerk.
He called the State Notary Commission. The database came back blank. No record of the name on the stamp.
Completely fabricated. That alone crosses the line from fraud to felony.
Next, the hospital code. Under UV light, the printed digits didn't match any facility in the state.
They typed a random number and expected no one to check. Sloppy.
To solidify the case, he met a witness in a quiet coffee shop, a woman who'd attended the memorial.
You said Edward Holt organized the whole thing, pushed for a quick ceremony.
The witness confirmed. He'd called everyone, said they needed to show proof of death for the insurance money.
Edward's name is on the policy as beneficiary. He stood to gain everything. He's our primary target.
3 days later, an official letter from Sentinel Life arrived at the Holt home. Richard's hands trembled as he opened it.
They're investigating. The policy claim is frozen. They want to interview us.
I told you this would happen. Edward said it was foolproof, but nothing ever is with him.
Before they could argue further, the front door slammed open. Edward stormed in, his face red with fury.
You got the letter too. This is your fault. If you'd kept your mouths shut at that memorial, no one would have asked questions.
You forced us, Edward. You said you'd take the house if we didn't help. We had no choice.
No choice? You'll have even less choice when they come with handcuffs. Stick to the story. Deborah was dead to us. Understand?
The room fell silent. Richard stared at the floor, the weight of the lie pressing down on him.
We've crossed a line that can't be uncrossed, and now we're trapped.
We let him do it. We let him use us again. And Deborah, she's alive and we pretended to mourn.
That evening, Deborah's phone rang. She stared at the blocked number for a moment, then answered.
Hello.
Deborah, it's your mother. Please don't hang up. I know you are angry, but I need to explain.
She actually called. After everything.
It was all Edward's idea. He forced us. Said he'd take the house if we didn't help him file the claim. We had no way out.
You held a memorial for me. You looked at my photo and pretended to cry.
We were desperate. Deborah, you don't understand. He threatened to ruin us. Please, drop the investigation. For the family's sake.
For the family's sake? The family that turned me into a corpse for money. I am not stopping anything. You chose Edward over me years ago. Now you'll face the consequences.
Deborah hung up before her mother could answer. She stared at the deadbolt on her door, and for the first time, she felt no guilt. Deep in Sentinel's digital archives, Patrick pulled up the original policy application, and his jaw tightened as he read.
Edward Holt, sole beneficiary. Every signature from Deborah and her parents was an identical forgery. He grabbed his phone. Deborah, I am coming over. I found proof that changes the entire narrative.
Minutes later, he spread the policy across her coffee table, pointing at the beneficiary line with a grim finger.
Edward wrote himself in as the only person to collect $250,000. He forged your acceptance when you were 22.
He insured my life years before I cut contact. Without my knowledge, he's been planning this for a decade.
Your parents' signatures are fake too. They might not have even known about the policy's existence.
They stood at my memorial and filed the claim. Whatever they didn't sign, they still profited from my death.
But Edward is the architect. The forgeries, the staged death, all lead straight to him.
Then it's over. He tried to erase me, but now he'll be the one held accountable.
The next morning, Deborah sat in Elena Ross's law office, the walls lined with legal volumes, the air heavy with consequence.
The evidence from the investigator is compelling. We can file a sworn complaint for insurance fraud, forgery, and filing a false death record.
Do it. All three. I want Edward held accountable, and my parents to face what they did to me.
This will likely mean prison time for Edward. Your parents could face felony charges too, depending on their cooperation.
They stood at my memorial. They lied to the insurance company. If the law calls that a crime, then they're criminals.
Elena slid a document across the desk, the formal complaint. Deborah took the pen without hesitation.
Once you sign, there's no going back. Are you ready?
I've been dead to them for years. Now they'll be dead to me too. Officially, this signature doesn't just start a case. It closes the door on the family I should have left long ago.
The complaint was filed before noon. The district attorney now had everything needed to move on the Holt family. 3 days later, a judge signed the warrant. Patrick led the entry team to Edward's duplex before dawn.
Edward Holt, we have a warrant to search these premises for evidence of insurance fraud and forgery.
Edward's hands shook as they entered. A shredder in the corner was still warm with half-destroyed documents.
Your laptop is still on. Let's see what you were trying to delete.
The search history was damning. How to fake a death certificate, template for forged notary stamps, in a desk drawer. They found the actual forged notary stamp and blank death certificate forms.
This matches the stamp on the filed certificate. He manufactured the whole thing from scratch.
Edward was read his rights, but not arrested yet. Patrick wanted airtight chain of evidence first.
There's enough here for multiple felony charges. The DA will have no trouble with this case. He called Deborah. We have physical proof, the stamp, the templates, the search history. It's over.
The following morning, a plain white envelope lay on the floor inside her apartment door, pushed through the mail slot during the night.
No return address. The paper inside was cheap copy stock, the words in uneven block letters.
Drop the investigation, or you'll regret it. You are not dead yet.
He's still trying to control me. Even after everything, he believes a threat will make me back down.
She smoothed the note flat and dialed Patrick.
Patrick, I just received a threat. It was slipped under my door. It says to drop the investigation, or I'll regret it.
Don't touch it. More than you have. I am sending a patrol officer to take a statement and collect the evidence. This could be attempted witness intimidation. It only strengthens our case. Keep your deadbolt locked.
He wants to scare me, but he only made me more certain. This is why I can't stop.
She placed the note in a plastic bag and waited by the window, watching the street for the patrol car, the red light of her security camera blinking steadily. In his office, Patrick received confirmation. The DA would file charges.
We've got enough for arrest warrants on all three. It's happening.
He briefed his superior, then dialed Deborah.
Deborah, the DA is filing criminal charges. Edward, Richard, and Dorothy Holt are all facing felonies.
My parents are going to be charged as felons. After everything, it still cuts deep. I told myself I was ready, but hearing their names on a charge sheet, it's different.
They made their choices. This is accountability, not cruelty. You didn't force them to forge your death.
She closed her eyes, and for a moment, she was back at the memorial. The candles, the lies, the empty grief.
I don't want to be the person who destroys her own family, but they didn't leave me a choice.
The warrants were issued. In hours, officers would be at their doors. Deborah locked the deadbolt and sat in the silence, bracing for the world to change. The first patrol car stopped at Edward's duplex. Lights off, but the early morning silence was shattered by a firm knock. He came to the door in his bathrobe, and within seconds, his wrists were bound behind his back, the metal clicking into place.
You have no idea who you are dealing with. I want my lawyer now.
Across town, A second unit knocked on the Holt's front door. Dorothy's cry through the wood was unmistakable.
Please, not in front of the neighbors. We'll come quietly.
The officer was gentle but firm. Richard extended his wrists without a word, his eyes hollow.
We didn't mean for it to go this far. She was already gone to us.
She was never gone. We just pretended.
By nightfall, all three were processed, fingerprinted, and held without bond. The booking photos hit the local news. Miles away, Deborah watched the broadcast, her face betraying nothing. The deadbolt was locked, and the camera's red eye glowed. The morning headlines blared, "Local family faked daughter's death for insurance." Deborah bought a paper, then walked on.
My picture is on page 2, right next to theirs. The caption calls me the victim.
A neighbor she'd never spoken to before caught her eye and quickly looked away, flushing.
I am the woman who was dead. Now I am the woman who put her family in jail.
She unlocked the deadbolt with a key she'd had copied only for herself.
Everything still. No threats, no letters, just quiet.
The quiet felt different now. Not the silence of hiding, but the stillness of someone who'd already been through the worst.
They tried to erase me, but here I am, locked in, alone, and more alive than I've ever been.
The camera's red light blinked on. Outside, the world would keep talking, but inside these walls, she'd built a fortress. But the courthouse still waited, and so did she. The preliminary hearing began on a gray Tuesday. The courtroom smelled of old wood and floor wax, the gallery half full with reporters.
My client acted on the assumption of an estranged relative's death. This is a misunderstanding, not fraud.
Then the prosecutor held up the forged death certificate, the fake notary stamp, and the search history, exhibit after exhibit, each one a nail.
She wasn't supposed to fight back. She was supposed to stay gone.
We were told it was a formality. We never thought she'd find out.
She was our daughter. We didn't want to hurt her.
Deborah watched the video feed in a private room, a court-appointed advocate beside her. She didn't blink when the forged signatures appeared on screen. One by one, the lies were stripped bare. The fake hospital code, the copied notary stamp, the emailed instructions to keep it quiet.
They turned me into a ghost. But ghosts are hard to silence when the truth has a paper trail.
The judge bound the case over for trial. There was no plea deal, no escape. The Holt family would face a jury. A week after the hearing, a certified letter from Sentinel Life arrived at Deborah's apartment. Policy number 7042 has been declared void ab initio due to fraud. The claim is denied permanently.
Void from the beginning. It was never valid. The lie they built is officially dead.
She met Patrick one last time at his office, a single form waiting for her signature.
The policy is cancelled, Deborah. You are no longer connected to it in any way.
She signed the final release, the pen, scratching a line under years of financial abuse.
Sentinel also authorized a restitution payment from our fraud prevention fund, $5,000 to offset your legal costs.
Thank you. It won't undo what they did, but it helps close the door. The policy is gone, the claim denied, but the trial still hangs over everything.
She filed the paperwork, locked the deadbolt, and let the silence settle. One tie severed, others still binding. The trial never came. Edward Holt, facing overwhelming evidence, accepted a plea deal, 8 years for conspiracy, forgery, and fraud.
Your Honor, I never meant for it to go this far. I just wanted what I thought I was owed.
I lost my daughter twice. Once when she walked away, and now forever. I am so sorry.
I failed as a father. There's no excuse.
The judge condemned the act as a chilling fraud against a living person, then imposed the terms: Edward prison, the parents' probation. Edward was led away in handcuffs, his face pale. The weight of 8 years settled on his shoulders. Deborah watched from a remote feed, her expression unreadable. No satisfaction, only a deep, exhausted stillness.
It's done. The law saw what I lived. Now they'll learn the cost of turning a daughter into a ghost.
The Holt family home stood empty, its windows dark. The memorial they faked was dismantled, its lies exposed. Deborah unlocked her deadbolt, stepped inside, and locked it again. The quiet now was her own. The letter sat on her kitchen table for an hour before she could bring herself to open it. The handwriting was unmistakably her mother's. Deborah, I am so sorry for everything. Not a day passes that I don't wish I could take it all back. Please find it in your heart to forgive me.
Sorry? She's sorry. I was dead. And they celebrated. Part of me wants to write back. To tell her I understand she was afraid. But I can't.
She folded the letter carefully, the paper already showing signs of being read and reread.
I don't owe her absolution. The best I can do is not let this bitterness rule the rest of my life.
She walked to the closet and pulled out a small wooden box, the one where she kept the old key from her grandmother and the few photographs she hadn't thrown away. Into the box went the letter, alongside the key and faded memories. She closed the lid.
Some things can't be fixed with a letter, but they can be stored away so they don't weigh down every morning.
She placed the box back on the shelf and didn't look at it again. The apartment was quiet, but it was a clean quiet, not an empty one. She crossed to the door and placed her palm flat against the new deadbolt, the metal cool and firm under her fingers. She turned the bolt, listening to the heavy click that sealed the outside world away. Then she walked to the window and pulled the curtain aside. The evening was soft, the first streetlights flickering on.
I spent years running from their names. Now, their names are locked in a case file, and I am still here.
She thought about the memorial photo they'd used, the candles that burned for a lie.
They wanted a ghost. Instead, they convicted themselves out of greed.
The city below was indifferent, and that was a kind of freedom. She traced the deadbolt one more time, the key still in her pocket.
A deadbolt, a camera, a quiet evening. More than I had when I was theirs.
She let the curtain fall back and stood in the clean quiet, the weight of the past finally starting to lift. She opened the wooden box one more time and lifted out the old brass key. The engraving was still clear. Always in my heart.
Grandma gave me this when I was 12. She said it was the key to her heart. She was the only one who never tried to cash in my life.
She set the key on the middle shelf of the bookcase, not hidden but where the morning light would catch it. The brass glinted softly, a tiny anchor to the one relationship that hadn't been a transaction.
I'll keep this one piece of the past. The rest can stay in the dark.
She closed the wooden box and slid it back onto the closet shelf, the letter inside, the photographs face down.
That chapter is over. There's nothing left to say.
She walked to the window and looked out at the calm, indifferent city. And for the first time, the silence felt like hers. She crossed back to the armchair and sank into the worn cushion, the lamplight pooling around her like an old friend. She thought about the deadbolt, the only physical change she'd made to this apartment in years. But the real shift was something invisible, the deep, quiet certainty that leaving her family had been right. She remembered the sharp knock that started it all. The man with the folder full of lies. Now, the lies were sealed in a case file, and the conspirators were locked away or tethered by probation. She'd simply added a lock, a camera, and a lifetime of proof that she'd always been alive. The world had tried to erase her, but she'd written herself back in, one document at a time. The smile that touched her lips was small and fragile, but it was entirely her own. Miles away, a lake lapped against a shore, the sunset draping the water in gold and rose, and in her quiet apartment, Deborah Vance took a breath that was finally her own. No anger, no fear, only the steady beat of a life reclaimed.